everyone. Last week we have discussed about the introduction and assumptions of art. At this juncture, we will discuss other elements of art, specifically the elements of auditory, literary, and combined arts. So, together with literature, music is an art form classified as an auditory art. However, some would argue that it is under broad category of performance art because when you sing, you perform. Either way, music, much like visual arts, has its own building blocks of elements, and that's the reason why they separate an auditory art around elements auditory art sub-performance art. Music is one of the well-known mediums of sharing and communicating one's experiences and emotions, complemented by the beautiful blending of musical instruments and human voices. Perhaps music is a form of art that also has cultural activity whose medium is sound. So long before music is really exists as part of the lives of the people, singing or dancing to music was also often included in opportunities for members of society to gather and interact. Like kanang sa una, magtapok-tapok ang mga katigulangan, nadyo magdala ang mga musical instrument, while nagakanta, like considering as their bonding time, like up until now, nagapahitabo gyapon siya. And some are adept with the skill and sense to produce music. We have composers, musicians, while others consider as the listeners, audience, and even the performers. So katong mga walay passion or talent in singing and playing musical instrument, but they fond of listening music, so sila tong mga listeners. Then katong mga fond of watching others nga naga-perform, sila tong mga audience, and katong mga naga-perform jud, so ginatawag na sila mga performers. So if there is an important quality that music has, it is having the capacity to transcend barriers, even that of differences in language or conventions in sound. So even though he or she use other languages in music and didn't even made here in Philippines, though sometimes we didn't understand the lyrics, but regardless where it came from and what its language, if you listen to the melody of the song and you like the tune or kanang tono, paganahan jud ka nga imuhang paminawon or kanang even ginakanta nimo ang kana na specific song. So, different demographics, groups, and individuals may have specific preferences as to the genre of the music. Like, lahi-lahi medyo taganahan na mga genre. So, however, in order to establish this preference, listeners often think to its elements for its evaluation. So, in other words, when we choose a genre that we like or fond of, we consider the elements of auditory art. So, in order to understand further, let us get to know the common elements of music first. So, beforehand, the elements and principles of music, there are two. So, first is the rudimentary element. It pertains to the initial stages of how it started, which is basically in a form of communication in terms of grammar or words. And the second one is the perceptual element. Refers to pitch, timbre, and harmony were incorporated. So in the book of Psychology of Music in 1967 by Carl E. Sasher, he identified the four elements and how it was used and manipulated in terms of its loudness, and it should be played in terms of its speed. And now, let's proceed to the elements of music. The first one we have pitch. So pitch refers to the highness or lowness of music sound. Meaning to say, it is an aspect of a sound that we can hear reflecting whether one musical sound, note, or tone is higher or lower. So, pitch is maybe distinguished and defined only when the sound and frequency produced are clear and stable to be differentiated from noise. The next one we have rhythm. So rhythm refers to the sounds, silence, and pausing are arranged in accordance with time. It is associated with physical motion. Also, rhythm it is the basic element of music, the length, and the accentuation or emphasizing of sounds. So, rhythm also often associated to the terms beat, meter, and tempo. Beat is is a basic unit of music. For example, when you see a musical piece have a 3/4 time signature, so meaning to say there are 3 beats in each measure and the quarter note receives 1 beat. Like the song Lupang Hinirang, it could be sung in 2/4 time signature and 4/4 time signature. So let us say, let's use the 4/4 time signature. Since it is 4/4 time signature, meaning to say 4 beats in each measure and the quarter note, which is 4, receives 1 beat. And tempo, it is refers to its speed, meaning to say how many beats per second. And beats can be organized into a recognizable recurrent pattern, and this pattern is what we call as the meter. So ang meter, it is the changes happen recognized by recurrent pattern. Now let's move on to the next, which is texture or timbre. So it is referred to the total or overall way in which music sound, the musical piece, either or musical instrument of human voices, composed and blended with one another that enable to produce certain density, thickness, range, and width between low and high pitches of human voices or musical instrument, as well as the relationships how the instruments and human voices blend and within. Which is meaning to say, timbre is often likened to the color of music, or who it is a quality distinguishes a voice or an instrument. So dependent on the technique, the timbre may give a certain tone or characteristic to music. So ang timbre mo na siya ang quality sa tingog and sa quality sa instrument. And furthermore, texture is have a different variations. Like for monophonic texture, it is referred to a type of texture that has a single melody or tune with no musical accompaniment nor additional human voice. So ang monophony, mao ni siya ang single pattern. While the second one is the heterophony, it is refers to another when it is composed of 2 or more instruments or human voices playing or singing the same melody, but each singer varies in rhythm and speed, adding special characteristics to instrument and singers. And the third one is polyphony. It refers to the various and multiple independent uses and applications of melody lines working and blending either sung or played at the same time. So ang polyphony mo na siya ang could be 2 or more pattern. And the lastly is homophony. It is a type of musical texture wherein the melody is provided or supported by the chordal accompaniment. So in monophony, meaning to say there is a single melodic line but have a accompaniment with chords, means na siya blending na naitabo. The next element we have is melody. So melody, it is the most important element of music, associated with mental motion and sometimes called the memory because it is what the listener always remembers. So melody refers to the succession of tones sounding after another in logical and meaningful arrangement. So a group of pitches is strung out sequentially, wherein tones may go up and down or just remain at the same level to form and satisfy a musical entity. Meaning to say, a melody, it is a tune of succession of pitches in musical time. And also, melody, it is a movements of notes, like in other words, like pasaka ba ang tono or mapababa. And the fifth one, we have tempo. Tempo refers to the speed of a certain musical piece. It may be slow or quick or moderate. So as a wrong or unsuitable tempo may affect or damage a song. So tempos have variations. Tempos may be largo, the first one. It means slow. Meaning to say portrays a grand manner. And the second one, adagio, to go slow and stately. The next one, andante, to go at a walking space, meaning to say like sounds like marching. And the next one is andanteno. It is to go alternately faster or slower than andante. The next one is allegretto, to go moderately fast, like moderate lang ang tempo or the amount is in average. And the next one is allegro, to go fast. So ang allegro, it is a fast variation. The beats per second is, meaning to say the beats per second is fast. And the next one is presto, to go very fast, like gradually fast good. Then the next one is accelerando, to go gradually becoming faster, like fast good, speeding up, gradually speeding up or accelerate. Then the last one is retardando, to gradually becoming slower. So like padalong sa paspas, like ni hinay-hinay. The sixth one, we have dynamics. It refers to the degree of strength and volume of the sound. It refers also to the force or control when music is either played from soft to loud. The shading of music is important to bring about the quality and beauty of a musical piece. Meaning to say, dynamics, it refers to the loudness or quietness of music. And also dynamic, it adds beauty in a musical performance or in a song. Here are the classical terms used to refer to the different levels of dynamics pertaining to this. Is the first one is pianissimo with the symbol PP. It means that very quiet. Very quiet, like dili pasabot na kanang way tingog na, like ang kuan lang ana is kanang soft, very soft ang ang sound. Then the next one is piano with the symbol P. Quiet, like very soft kaayo, like kanin tayo halimbawa kanang mag-clap bitaw ta sa atong 5 ka fingers, so kay very ay quiet man siya, so kanang soft lang na pagkapakpak. Then the next one is the mezzo piano with the symbol MP, is the moderately quiet, so like move one level louder than the piano. And the next one is mezzo forte, the moderately loud, natural lang, like kanang magstorya lang bitaw ta natay ka storya, like natural lang nato nga na tingog, so mo na siya moderately loud. Then the next one is the forte with the symbol F, which is loud, like kusog. Then the last one is the fortissimo with the symbol FF, very loud, like pinakakusog na gyud kayo. And for the last one, we have expression. So we know that expression of emotion is seen in the face and the voice. So it is very important that the facial expression matches or complements the expression as perceived in the song. So diba, as of now, like until now, important gid kayo ang ato ang mga expression if mag-sing ta, para ang ato ang ma-portray og tarong ang ato ang gikanta, para while ang mga naminaw or ang nagtanaw makita nila or ma-feel nila kung unsa ang pasabot sa imuhang ginakanta or gina-portray nga mga song. And now, similar to artworks whose style, medium, and technique emphasize some of the elements in visual arts, a composition and genre of music may emphasize the elements of music, which is previously outlined. Okay, that's it for the elements of auditory art.
So after discussing about auditory arts, let's proceed with the literary arts. Literary art is a form of art that displays the beauty of words and stories. Literary art comes from two words, namely art and literature. Literary or literary art is something in the form of writing or stories that have artistic and cultural value that displays the beauty of speech and language to convey certain meanings. There are different elements of literary arts. First is the intrinsic element of literary arts. These are elements that are the influence of literary arts that exist within the literary arts themselves. Intrinsic elements include theme, which is the main issue in the story. Mandate, this is the message to be conveyed by the author to the readers. Character. Character can be divided into two parts. First is the main character, which is the main figure in the story, and followed by the helper, which is the character's main companion. When viewed from good or bad characters, Characters are divided into protagonists, which is the bad, and antagonists, which is the good. Conflict is a problem experienced by the characters in the story. Conflicts are divided into two types, namely internal conflicts, which is conflicts that do not involve other figures, and external conflicts, conflicts that involve other figures. Setting is a description of a place, time, and atmosphere. Plot is the storyline in the work from beginning till the end. Symbol is the use of literary works as a representation of an abstract theme. Lastly, the perspective, which is the embodiment of the character's character by the writer in the story. The perspective is divided into first person, second person, and third person. Let's proceed with the extrinsic elements of literary arts. These are elements that make up a literary work from the outside. Element takes the form of the background of the author's life, beliefs, and point of view of the author, customs, political situation, history, and also the economy contained in their literary works. There are different classifications when it comes to extrinsic elements of literary arts. First is the poetry. Poetry is a literary work whose description uses diction or word choice. And then, followed by prose. Prose is a literary work in the form of a description which is delivered in a language that is free and is not bound by rhythm, diction, rhyme, and the soundness of rule of speech. And also the literary guidelines can be used for newspapers, novels, magazines, encyclopedias, and other various types of media. So kabaliktaran ni siya sa poetry. Since poetry, kailangan siya og diction, rhyme, and intonations. So there are different kinds of prose. First is the narrative prose, a form of writing in which the work is written in prose, not poetry, and tells a definite story. Next is the descriptive prose, writing used to describe specific scenes, settings, or people within a piece of prose. Next is exposition prose, designed to convey information that provides insight into a character or advances in the stories. Lastly, the prose argumentation. This kind of prose demands the writer should carefully consider an issue which has two sides to it and prove that one side has more merit than the other. It is more like a debate in which you have two-sided topic and a decision to be made requiring which side has more merit over the other. Generally, topics are based on different trends and social issues. There are also forms of prose. First is the romance. Romance is a story that tells the whole character from birth to the end of his life. And lastly, novel. Novel is a story that tells the story of a part of the life of a character. And that's it for literary arts. And now, let's go with the combined arts. When we say combined arts, it is a variation of media and materials which can be both seen and heard. It is also a collection of different art mediums such as painting, singing, musical performance, and the like. There are also elements of combined arts. First is the music. Music has different kinds. First is the rhythm, the positioning of the sound in time in music, followed by the melody, the visual result of a particular pattern of frequencies in musical time. Next is the harmony, the sound of two or more notes played concurrently. And lastly, texture, how much is going on at any particular time in the song. The next element of combined arts is the theater. When we talk about theater, there are also composition when it comes to it. First is the plot. Plot is the organization of activities in a play. The character. Character is used in order to execute the acts and talk dialogue. Diction. The choice and composition and expression of words and their use. Music. We use music to create an atmosphere, provide ambient sound, and fill the long pauses. Lastly, the spectacle. The spectacle requires all the elements of a disaster that lead to its visual effects, sets, scenery, actors' movements, the music's rhythm, and the sound of the animation. Why combined arts is very important or relevant in today's generation. It isn't just a piece to tell a story, express emotions, and the like, but it is also a piece to provide entertainment and relaxation to people to enjoy. Lastly, it also provides job opportunities for people who are in the field of art, and with this, they generate income and also showcase their talent and skills to their audiences. Here are some examples of combined arts. In the field of theater, here's The Phantom of the Opera, The Wicked, and Les Miserables. So when it comes to film, Avengers, Titanic, and Annabelle. Lastly, for video games, Call of Duty, Valorant, Battle Royale, and Minecraft. And that ends our report. And we are the Group 6. Thank you and God bless.